everybody, how's it going? As always, I just want to say thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I worked really, really hard on this solo, maybe a little bit too hard. I actually started working on this the day the song came out, which is about 2 months ago now. Generally, this was just a really, really hard solo. And one of the things that made it difficult to, get through this cover was when I first started learning this, there were no live videos. There was nothing to figure out the fingering, so I had to figure out these licks and just kind of take a guess at what I thought would be the most comfortable way to play it. Even though I shot this 2 months later and I knew there were live videos up, my muscle memory was already kind of built up, and I wasn't about to just go and look at his video and be like, damn, I see him playing it a different way, and then try and relearn it. Of course, as soon as I was done shooting, I went back and took a look at the way he played it in the live videos that were uploaded. And I got most of it correct, except for about 2 licks. One of the licks, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That way's a little bit easier to play it, that the descending sweep part. One of the other licks, I realized I actually think I played it in a much easier way than he played it, but he's Brandon Ellis. He can pretty much play it any way he wants and make it sound good. Brandon is an insane player. The licks that he has in this solo, some of them for me, I had never actually played before. And for me, whenever I do a cover, I always try and master each lick. I don't just try and get through it and just get on to the next cover. I really try and get it to be a lick of mine that I can just play, almost make it one of my go-to licks, you know what I'm saying? Like one of those licks that you play all the time. I try and make that with almost every solo I try and go into, because, solos are gonna come up later in life. You're gonna get a lick that's like a lick you've played before, and instead of just fumbling through it for one cover and then fumbling it through the next, you may as well just master it in one and then have it ready for the next one, and that might make that solo a little bit easier. Another reason I think it's really important to master a lick like this is because when it comes time to writing, sometimes you might hear a lick you've played before and you might want to incorporate it into your own solo, maybe change the key or something like that, or maybe some of the notes, but I think it's good to be able to have that lick on hand so you can put it in your own solos. Now, one of the things that actually made this solo a little bit easier for me, I was actually practicing this song in D standard with 11 to 49 gauge strings on for most of it. My ML2 is normally in that tuning, and the song itself is actually in C standard. But I had heard in a live stream that he did once, I think he actually said he used 11s to, maybe he was using a heavier set on the low strings, but I think he used 11s on the high strings, if I recall. So dropping a whole step down with the same gauge strings on, it was just like cake when it came time to doing the vibrato after practicing it for 2 weeks. It was like the equivalent of going to the gym and like working out with 50-pound weights, and then 2 weeks later trying a 5-pound weight. It was like a feather. So I thought that was kind of cool. It made it a lot easier, and sometimes I get students that are having a lot of trouble bending and stuff like that. So if you want, you can always try this yourself. If you use 9s and like standard tuning, try 10s. Do your vibrato and bending. Really try and play everything you play with that for a week, and then maybe go back to 9s, and it'll be much easier. As always, thanks again for checking this out. If you want to learn how to play this solo, you can hit me up for Skype lessons. I left my email address in the description below, along with a bunch of other links like my gear and stuff like that. If you want to see all the gear that I use in this room, you can check out my last video. It's a full rig rundown thing. I'm going to try and shoot a Q&A video right now for you guys and get that out to you by Tuesday. So if you're not, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys then. All right? See you guys.